Death is beaten, you have rescued me. Sing it out, Jesus is alive. Empty cross, the empty grave. Life eternal, you have won the day. Shout it out, Jesus is alive. He's alive. And oh, happy day, happy day. You wash my sin away. Oh, happy day, happy day. I'll never be the same. Forever I'm changed. Greatest day in history. Death is beaten, you have rescued me. Sing it out, Jesus is alive. Empty cross, the empty grave. Life eternal, you have won the day. Shout it out, Jesus is alive. He's alive. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, happy day, happy day. You wash my sin away. Oh, happy day, happy day. I'll never be the same. Oh no, forever I'm changed. And what a glorious day, what a glorious way. That you have saved me, and what a glorious day, what a glorious name, Jesus. Oh, happy day, happy day. You wash my sin away. Oh, happy day, happy day. I'll never be the same. Oh, forever I'm changed. I am changed. I am changed.
Hi everyone, good morning. Today's story is called Jesus Was Dedicated, and it's found in Luke 2. So last week we talked about how Jesus was born in a town called Bethlehem, right? And Jesus' parents on earth, their names were Joseph and Mary. And of course we know that God is Jesus' father, but when he was on earth, he was taking care of two people named Joseph and Mary. So one day, a couple days after Jesus was born, Mary and Joseph took him to a temple. So the temple was basically what the church is today, like the church building. It's where people went to go pray and worship God. Of course, today we're not in the church building, but at home and anywhere we go, we can always pray and praise and worship God, okay? So back then, there was a temple, and then also God had special rules for people who had their first son. So for their first son, they had two rules. One rule was that his parents would have to present him to God at the temple. Okay, and the second rule was that they were going to give an offering to God. Okay, so Mary and Joseph did just that and brought Jesus to the temple to be dedicated, and then brought two birds as an offering. Okay, while they were there were two people that Jesus met when he was a baby, or two people that met Jesus when he was a baby. So one was named Simeon and the other was named Anna. So we're going to talk about Simeon first. So Simeon was a man who lived in Jerusalem, and he loved God. He just like we should, worship God and pray to God and love God, okay? God had told him that he was going to be able to see the Messiah who's going to save the world from sin, save the people from sin, um, before he passed away. So Simeon, because he loved God and he trusted God, he knew that God was going to he was going to keep his promise, okay? So one day, Simeon heard from God to go to the temple. So he went to the temple, and that day was the day that Jesus and his family went to the temple to be dedicated, okay? So when he saw Jesus, he knew that who Jesus was. He knew that he was the Savior. He knew that he was going to save people from their sin. And he was so happy because God had fulfilled his promise that day, okay? We know that God keeps all of his promises, but so when Simeon saw Jesus, he was so happy, okay? And that when he saw him, he held him and he praised God and he prayed to God, saying thank you, and because he was able to see Jesus that day, okay? And then Simeon also talked to Joseph and Mary and told him what Jesus was going to do on earth, okay? So he was going to Jesus was going to do something that was going to save people from their sin or from the bad stuff that we do, so that people can go to heaven. But some people were gonna love Jesus, and some people were not gonna love him, and that's what he told Mary and Joseph. So this little baby was gonna go through something that was very hard, right? So it was very hard. It was probably really hard for Mary and Joseph to hear that, okay? So Simeon was able to meet Jesus, and we're gonna talk about the second person, Anna, now. So Anna was a woman who was very old. She was I think she was 84 years old. Anna didn't have a family. She actually had a husband when she was younger, but he passed away. So she didn't have any children and any family because she was pretty old. So what she did was she stayed in the temple every single day. And what did they do at the temple? They prayed and worshiped God, right? So Anna stayed at the temple every single day and prayed and worshiped God, and she also fasted. So fasting means that she didn't eat any food, okay? So that day, when Simeon was there and Mary and Joseph and Jesus was there, Anna was able to see Jesus as well. And she was so thankful, right? It would be so amazing to see Jesus in person and be able to see him as a baby. That's amazing, right? So Anna was so thankful. So she thanked God, and she told everyone that Jesus was there. She was so happy and she was so joyful that she wanted to share the good news that Jesus was there, right? So the reason why that this is so important and this is so amazing is that people from the very beginning waited so long for Jesus to come, right? So when Anna and when Simeon saw Jesus, they were so happy that they were able to meet the person who was going to save people from their sin, the person that they were waiting for their entire life, right? So after that, Anna was so happy, right? We would be so happy to hear some good news, and we want to tell people when we hear good news. If you get a cool toy, you want to show it to everyone, right? Or if you did something really cool and went on vacation and went to see something super cool, you want to tell your friends, right? And it's something that you're excited to tell. Just like Anna and Simeon were excited, we should be excited to tell people about Jesus, okay? To tell people that Jesus is alive and he saves us from our sin, and we love him. So we want to tell everyone that, okay? So after that, Mary and Joseph did everything that they were supposed to do at the temple, and they went home, and Jesus grew up and he became strong and healthy and wise, which means that he was very smart. And next week we're going to talk about Jesus when he was a child, okay? So now he's a baby, and then next he'll be a child, and then we'll keep talking about Jesus for the next couple of weeks. Okay, guys? I just want to remind you guys that even though we're not at the church building, we can still worship and pray to God wherever we are, okay? So I hope that you guys enjoyed the story, and that I'll see you guys again next week, and I really missed seeing you guys, so bye!